what I'm going to leave you with, there's actually a little bit more here, but what I want to close out on is that design thinking underpins systems of engagement. You've heard other speakers talk about this. This is a big theme at Forrester, is this separation of systems of record, which are more about the package app, ERP world, that's pretty static, and having a layer on top of that we call system of engagement. And it's really about being able to make change faster, engage stakeholders. And the key here, what I wanted to do is highlight, what does this mean for BPM? Personally, I think BPM is the de facto system of engagement here, right? And I've written a lot of research around, this is all about BPM. We can use the term system of engagement. I could replace that with BPM. The key there, though, is there's actually two different types of BPM. We're seeing where the systems of record versus systems of engagement conversation is bifurcating the BPM market. And so you see vendors that are really more focused on BPM for transactions. So that's really around just the system of record. And so in those environments, it's focused on executing high volume transactions. It's really about targeting structured business processes, structured systems. So going back to the back office conversation, ideal for slower to change processes. So we see systems in that environment. And where we see more modern BPM environments going, like what Appian has, is more focused on delivering adaptive user experience. So really being able to support the shift to design thinking and experimentation and changing experiences quickly. Also targeting structured or semi-structured process. How can you experiment if the processes are difficult to change? If somebody comes to you and has an idea and it takes you 5 weeks to implement that idea, it becomes problematic. The idea is let the person do the experimentation. And so it's really about having structured, unstructured, or semi-structured processes and having case capability. In a lot of ways, this is, I don't have this up here, but a lot of the research is really beginning to focus around task design. And so being able to let people design their own tasks, designing tasks so that they get the results that they want quickly. Ideal for faster pace of change, and then definitely support for new work patterns such as mobile and social. And so this is a real shift in the market. When we did our recently published BPM Suites Wave report, this was a big line of demarcation. Is vendors that focused on engagement versus vendors that focused on transactions. And so when you're starting to work with your environment, you really want to be able to look at how can I take full advantage of the engagement environment that Appian offers or others offer. But the other part that's interesting here is we're seeing customers adopt the BPM for engagement tools and actually sit on top of or around the BPM for transactions. It's kind of fascinating to see, have these conversations where a customer already has BPM. They're kind of asking, well, we have BPM, but it kind of is connected to our system of record, whether that's SAP or other systems, but they're now trying to overlay that with the BPM for engagement capability. So, Samir, I could stay up here till the end of the week. I got like 50 more slides, but I think Samir's looking at me like, okay, Clay. So what I want to leave you with, though, is really, this is a very interesting time for BPM. I think every year I come here and say that, Samir. I mean it this year. I really mean it. No, and I'm serious. I've been in BPM for a while. I was talking to Malcolm here yesterday, and we were just comparing, and, I've known Malcolm since my daughter was born, and we've worked together since my daughter was born, so going back 11 years almost. And really, a lot of what's happening in BPM right now, it really ain't about the process. Let's just be honest, right? It ain't about the process. It's about all the disruption that's happening at the edges and the need to actually adapt processes to deal with that. And so when you start looking, I really challenge you to start thinking about BPM less as, okay, I got to go do process improvement and really make changes to how I get process work done, to start thinking more about it as task management, experience design, and actually retrofitting the process to deal in that world. That's the real opportunity that we're going into. So with that, thank you, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Enjoy DC too. Thank you.